Recently we posted some chisel information on the internet and related to sharpening. Got a lot of different opinions, and it caused me to think about, well, there's different types of grinds, there's different types of performance, and I thought maybe we'd figure out some way of testing those. So I selected 4 chisels. Each one of them is 1.5 inches. They have different characteristics, and I figure we're going to devise some testing to figure out which of these cut the best, which ones work the best, and why we believe that to be the case. The first one is a refiner's forge. This is handmade by a blacksmith in Virginia. You can see on the back where the tool steel was hand forged, welded into it. And this one has a hollow grind. Second up is a Sorby chisel. This one's been around a while. Timber framers all over the globe use this particular chisel, and it comes with a flat grind, so it's a little bit different. This one here is a bar chisel. It's kind of the standard in the U.S. This is probably 30 years old. This was the first one that I actually ever purchased, and this has a hollow grind on it. And finally, this is our Star Hill chisel. This one is a little bit different in that it has a concave grind. So there's a slight bit of a shoulder right here, and it's a little bit rounded, which is different from the hollow grind and different from the flat grind. So the first thing we're going to do is just take a basic protractor, and we'll measure the angles the best that we can on each one of these. So if I take the refiner's forge, and I put my angle gauge on that, and I get everything lined up and get it generally lined up with what the angle is. Looks like the refiner's forge angle is really right about 36 degrees. I'm going to do the same thing with the Sorby. Again, I'll line this up as flat as I can get it. I mean, it's not perfect, but it just kind of gives you an idea. And that looks like that lines up pretty well on the Sorby. And that angle measurement looks to be just under 30, maybe 29 degrees or so. We'll try and do the same bit on the bar. And the bar angle, it appears to be, I'm going to say, pretty close to 26 degrees. And finally, we'll make the best alignment we can on this rounded shoulder with this Star Hill chisel. Look at that. And that angle looks to be more like 22 or 23 degrees. So there's definitely a difference in the angles of these chisels. There's also a difference in the thickness. Refiner's forge is by far the thickness. Sorby is second. Bar is third. And the Star Hill chisel is substantially thinner than any of the others. These 3 chisels are mild steel with a hardened steel tool bit forge welded in. And this chisel is 100% tool steel. Now, when we look at these chisels, I'm going to say that the refiner's forge, the bar, and the Star Hill, the price points are all about the same for each of those chisels. The Sorby is substantially less expensive. It's going to be in the, these 3 are probably $235, $250 range. The Sorby is probably $150, $160. So it's substantially less expensive. These 3 chisels, the refiner's forge, the bar, and the Star Hill, all have a socket-style handle where the wooden handle goes inside the socket. The Sorby is a tang, where the tang from the chisel goes up inside the handle, and you've got a ferrule here to prevent the handle from splitting. Just different designs. They all work just great, just a little bit different. The handle sizes are generally about the same. The bar is a little bit shorter. My personal preference is something a little bit longer. That's why the Star Hill is, the length that it is, because I prefer something you can get both of my hands onto to get some body weight behind it. Stay with us over the next couple of weeks, and we're going to figure out which one of these work the best and why they work the best. As we're lining out and getting all our measurements for our 4 contenders, my son indicated that measuring the angle with an old school protractor covered with epoxy may not be the most accurate way of catching an angle measurement. So we will measure and utilize the angles from this digital angle scale, and that's the one that we're going to use for the testing. Another piece of information that we didn't acquire that is probably may be pertinent, may not be, but we're going to go ahead and measure the length of each one of these chisels just so that we have that data. So the first up is the Sorby, and the Sorby looks to be just a touch over 20 inches. The bar is a touch over 17 inches. The Star Hill is about 19 3/4 inch, and the Refiner's Forge is just a touch over 19 inches. So that just gives you an idea of the overall size and length of these chisels. Well, they're not in the mix. I did want to introduce you to 3 additional chisels. These chisels are at a price point that they're relatively inexpensive compared to the others, and they do the job. So if you're just looking to get started, it's probably worth considering. My favorite these days is the Arno chisel. It is it's all steel, you know. So it's got a steel handle. It's got a steel blade. We put a hollow grind on it. This is the 1 inch or 25 millimeter chisel. I've been using these things for about a year, and I really like them. I like the way they feel. I like the way they cut. This is the 2 inch or 50 millimeter chisel, and again, it's heavy duty. It's got steel here. These are designed to be hit with a brass mallet, and I just really like the performance. And I think you can get this set of 2 chisels here for under $100. So, you know, it's definitely worth considering if you're just getting started. The one thing I'm not a big fan of, there's not quite enough room here for my big hands, so I would rather it was a little bit longer. But boy, it is a nice chisel set for getting started. And the final option is to make your own. So this is a file that we just shaped and made a chisel out of. If you're going to use a file, they come very hard and they're very brittle. So what you want to do is take this much of your file and soak that, put that in ice, and then take a torch and heat the rest of it up until it's red hot. Let it cool down, maybe do that a couple of times. What you're doing is normalizing this chisel and making it a little softer so that when you smack it with a hammer, it doesn't shatter, right? A file, you could easily shatter it by pounding on this with a hammer, but it preserves the hardness down here for the tip that you need. Then we just shape the file, drill the hole in a timber frame peg, burn fitted into the hole, added some epoxy, a couple of rings, and a wrap, and I probably have about $2 to $3 worth of materials into this file. So, you know, just getting started, these 3 might be a really good option for you. And what we have done is we set up an Amazon storefront, and we'll put the link for that down below. And that has a phase 1, hey, start here, build your first kit. In a phase 2, hey, here's some other stuff that might make things a little faster for you, but don't buy these until you really need them. The point here is get some tools in your hand, get started, get some chisels, get a sharpening kit, learn how to sharpen it, learn how to pare, learn how the chisel works. You don't have to wait till you have thousands of dollars in a timber framing kit. This storefront is intended to point you in the right direction, allow you to get the tools that you need, and get started. Try it out, see where it's going to go, and then as you develop your workflow, you can add to your toolkit as you need to. Stay with us. Next week, we're going to sharpen up these chisels. These chisels are used in the shop. I use them. They've been used by students. They're in various stages of sharpness, so we're going to hone and polish each one of these. And you'll have an opportunity to see how we sharpen flat grind, hollow grind, and convex grind. And we're going to make sure that they are super, super sharp so that when we start our testing for the chisel trials, that they are all on equal footing.